Hi, and welcome to Fostering Conversations, produced by CASA of Southwest Missouri. This is a podcast where we share the real stories of real children navigating the foster care system. My name's Shelby Blakely, and I'm our training coordinator.
My name's Hannah Wilford, and I'm one of our Greene County Advocate Supervisors.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're just going to take a moment to hear this story. We're going to honor this space and honor this child's experience.
All right. So this story starts with a 10-year-old. The 10-year-old arrived at a hospital, and the whole room went quiet. They were admitted to the pediatric intensive care unit with acute heart failure. Their small body was covered in bruises, arms, legs, places no child should carry marks like that. At 10 years old, the child weighed just 33 pounds.
What?
Mm-hmm.
33 pounds at 10 years old?
Yeah. And the average weight for a healthy 10-year-old is between 70 to 75 pounds.
That is tragic.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Oh my goodness.
Doctors searched for answers. They ran tests. They looked for diagnoses that might explain the stunted growth, the fragile heart, the painfully small stature. There was none. No medical reason, no explanation except what had been happening at home. As the truth came out, it became clear that this child had been punished in ways that no child should ever experience. As discipline, they were made to run laps, forced to do workouts, food was withheld, hunger became a daily reality, and school had not been a part of their life for almost 2 years. This child truly learned how to survive. They stole food from trash cans, hid it away when they could, under beds, in corners, wherever it wouldn't be taken away. When they eventually returned to school, they acted out, not because they were bad, but because they were desperate. Acting out sometimes meant attention, and sometimes attention meant food. Their 6-year-old sibling was always there. The younger child was physically unscathed, well-fed, treated as the favorite, but that didn't mean unaffected. The 6-year-old watched as it all happened, watched their siblings shrink, struggle, suffer, without understanding why one child was protected and the other was not.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. What is this dynamic here that we're seeing?
So sometimes there's this thing called the Cinderella phenomenon, and it's where abusive caregivers can single out one child to serve as a scapegoat or an identified patient to manage the family's collective unresolved trauma, all of those things.
Yeah.
And so if you think about the Cinderella movie, it's like Cinderella is mistreated while these other 3 girls aren't.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of similar to that, where no one really knows why they're treated different. They're just different.
They're just the scapegoats.
Yeah, they're just the scapegoats.
Dang.
Yeah. Both children entered care carrying very different wounds, and then someone stayed. The CASA volunteer didn't just advocate in courtrooms and case meetings. They showed up in the everyday moments. They met the children where they were, and they taught them about healthy foods, not as control, not as punishment, but as nourishment. They showed them that exercises didn't have to hurt or feel scary. It could be fun, it could be joyful, and it could be play. They helped them rebuild their relationship within their own body. When the children returned to school, they didn't assume that they would just figure it out. They helped them learn to make friends, what to do when other kids were mean, and how to ask for help instead of acting out. They gave them permission to be children, to laugh, to play, to learn, and they stayed. For the 10-year-old, survival slowly turned into safety. Food no longer had to be hidden, movement no longer meant punishment, and adults no longer always meant harm. For the 6-year-old, someone finally saw them too. Someone named what they had witnessed and made space for their feelings.
Yeah, you often think about the physical impact of trauma, but we don't always consider that seeing something or witness something can also create trauma within ourselves.
Yeah, so the National Child Traumatic Stress Network says that kids that witness secondhand trauma often display or mimic symptoms of PTSD survivors.
Wow.
And so I think that that's something we really need to keep in mind when working with these kiddos, because nightmares and anxiety and just being exhausted is something that they're living through because of what they witnessed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. This story is about profound harm, but it's also a story about healing and what can happen when one consistent adult refuses to walk away, refuses to look the other direction, and chooses to stand beside 2 children as they learn what safety and childhood can feel like. And there are children just like these two right now, waiting for someone to notice, waiting for someone to speak up, and waiting for someone to stay. If you're listening and wondering how you can help, considering becoming a CASA volunteer. Court-appointed special advocates are trained community members who stand up for children who cannot stand alone. You don't have to be a medical expert. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be willing to show up, to listen, and to stay consistent. Because sometimes changing a child's life doesn't start with fixing the past. It starts with one adult showing up and staying.
Oh my goodness, no kidding, especially for these kids.
Yeah.
That is so hard. I can't imagine the dynamic between the siblings either. That must have been really difficult to kind of figure out and build some stability and rapport again too. Because do you think that they were really allowed to even bond?
Probably not. And I mean, for the younger sibling, having to watch your older sibling go through that and you just don't understand why, I think that just automatically hinders your relationship because you're in the same household. You're being like cared for by the same people, but it's so drastically different.
Right. And I could understand this like fear of, is that contagious? Like if you're seeing them not deserve that treatment, what are you doing?
Yeah, like when does it become my turn?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, how difficult. I'm so glad that there was somebody there who helped navigate that situation. Okay, and so we are going to jump into one of my favorite parts of these episodes, which is where we mimic what happens in our courtroom. Our judge loves when children come and engage in the courtroom. And he always asks for them to bring a little dad joke or a little honey joke for them to tell him. And so we are going to listen to a child tell a joke and maybe give them some points like Judge would.
Yeah.
Where do sports teams go to buy new uniforms? New Jersey.
Okay.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Judge would probably award a couple points.
Yeah, he'd send him to the school.
What do you think, 5 or so maybe? Okay. Well, thank you so much for learning with us today. We are another episode down.
Another child's feature up.
Bye!